Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another unboxing video, and this time I'm going to share with you one of my favourite CD box sets of all time, and it is Songs of Yesterday by the band Free. Paul Kossoff, Paul Rodgers, Andy Frazier, Simon Kirke, four young teenagers who formed this band in 1968. 7 albums in total. That's all it was, a short window of time, but a musical legacy that is just unsurpassed in so many ways. But there's also the thing I want to talk about is how some music and some musicians can connect with you on a level that you just don't see coming. I'm recording this video on the anniversary of Paul Kossoff's sad passing, and I've been playing a lot of music by Free or albums featuring Paul Kossoff, and it's really put me in the zone. And the music from this band, and some of you younger listeners will have bands that this will mean something to you as well. But there's something about when you connect to bands and they're kind of just that bit older than you, like your older brothers, that you kind of latch on and it becomes imprinted in your life, the music you hear in these formative years. I was 17 in 1976, and I can remember exactly where I was when I heard the news that Paul Kossoff had died. I was in a pub called the Wagon Horses in Sheldon in South Birmingham, and we used to meet after work and have a few beers and stuff. Not that many, because technically we weren't supposed to be in the pub at the age of 17. And one of my friends said, "Phil, have you heard the news?" I went, "No." He said, "Paul Kossoff's died." And it was a really noisy pub, lots of clanking glasses and people talking loudly over each other. And everything stopped to me. Everything just stopped. And at that age, you kind of hear news like this, and you just move on to talking about football or whatever. But the conversation carried on. But I was just thinking, he didn't make it. Paul Kossoff, he didn't make it. And I just thought he would. I'd seen him on the Arbor Whistle test, earlier, where he didn't seem with it at all, and he'd nearly died, or he technically had died, but he'd come back, and I'd read an interview in Sound saying he's looking forward to the new tour with Backstreet Crawler, the second album was coming out, and he was gone. And I mean, it was Free were so different to any of the other bands that I was a fan of. You could probably say to me then, what were your favourite bands? Oh, Sabbath, Purple, Zeppelin. And there was Free. But they were in everything that I did. It was only, I think it was early 75 when Alan Freeman had played Mr. Big from Free Live. And it changed my life because of I've said this before, I know, the raw power of Paul Rodgers' voice, and then the way that Kossoff interpreted that through his guitar, that in Free Live, that opening note from Kossoff says 1,000 words of the human condition in one note. Now, I was a budding guitarist then, and I was just the same as all the other guitar players around that time. It was who was fastest was best, and I signed up to that club. It was Richie Blackmore faster than Jimmy Page, etc., etc. And Eddie Van Halen was still a couple of years off from appearing in front of us. And people like David Gilmour or Steve Howe, whatever, they were saying, oh, they're not like really fast rock guitar players like Blackmore or whatever. And Blackmore was one of my favourite guitarists, as you all know. But Kossoff obviously wasn't a fast player, but no one thought about Kossoff as being fast or slow, because Kossoff was unique. And he was more than just a guitar player. He was like me. I mean, he was like, I felt like I knew him. I felt like I knew him as a person. Now, all of us, go back to when you're young, when you're a teenager. It's bloody hard work, isn't it? You know, well, what shall I wear? Will people like me? Does she like me? You know, will I fit in? And getting a job, where you're going in life. It's angst. It's like the stresses and I, as a young teenager, young man, 17, I was painfully shy. You know, trying to fit in, and you know, even though I eventually started to join bands and stuff, I was really a shy person, and very worried about what people thought, and I couldn't express myself. I think I had a bit of mild dyslexia. I mean, it's probably why there's so many spelling mistakes sometimes in my descriptions. You know, I found it very difficult to find my voice, and so when I started to really listen to Free, the voice that spoke to me was the guitar playing of Paul Kossoff. And I felt as if I knew him. I felt as if he understood. You could tell with Paul Kossoff. And I think this makes him unique as well. I'm jumping about a bit here, so please bear with me, or fast forward to the unboxing if you'd like to see that bit straight away. Is that if we were now in a position where a musician was like struggling through drug or alcohol addiction, and his playing was suffering, we'd be throwing empty water bottles at the stage, booing and asking for our money back. That happened a lot with Free and Backstreet Crawler, but people didn't boo or ask for their money back. They actually shouted support at him and said, "Come on, Koss, you can do it, you can do it." People loved Kossoff. They really cared for him. And this is before the internet, so how did you get to know anybody? They weren't on the telly. They weren't on the internet. They were only in Sounds or Melody Maker or NME if they got something to say, but Kossoff wasn't always in there. He wasn't the spokesperson for the band Free. And you couldn't find photographs in magazines. So you only knew about a musician from the music that you heard. And that's how you aligned yourself to somebody, was just literally through the music. And growing up then, I felt that Kossoff's guitar spoke to me. He managed to translate how I felt into notes without words, that my thoughts and feelings floated on top of. He had a way of communicating, and I know you'll hear this phrase, guitarists, it was not how many notes, the notes they don't use, and Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, is another guy, but Kossoff was in a world that was far removed from anyone else. And I also think that he suffered from imposter syndrome in some ways. I think he couldn't understand why he got all this adulation and why people thought he was so good. I think he was quite shocked when Kossoff asked him how he got that vibrato and stuff. And I think the drugs were affecting him, and he did lose a bit of that vibrato, and I think he started to feel like he couldn't do it, but he could. Come Together in the Morning by Free. I've mentioned this guitar solo before. It's one of my favourites. But there's actually an error or a mistake in the way the guitar solo starts. But it has to be left in. It's almost like he trips over one of the strings or one of the notes. But it fits in with the message and the words that Paul Rodgers is singing. And the first opening note in the guitar solo in Highway, I said Mr. Big, Time Away from Backstreet Crawler, where the guitar is crying. The guitar is crying. you feel his pain. You feel that Paul Kossoff is hurting. You feel that Paul Kossoff knows your pain. You feel that Paul Kossoff knows what it's like to be you. And you feel a connection. It takes you out of, I was working in really horrible factories. Horrible factories. Terrible places, really. And I hated it. And I came home and I put on some free music, and it just helped me. And Paul Kossoff's guitar was like a lifeline to me. So over the years, those 7 albums by Free have always been part of my life. And I love thousands of bands now, and thousands of bands, but you know what I mean, loads. On this channel I talk about so much stuff, and I like so many different guitarists, loads of them from every genre. But when I roll back to Kossoff, it's something very, very different. So thank you for being with me through this part of the video. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through this and show you what's in it, the box set and the booklet and stuff. But this is an essential purchase because it's not like any other box set because of what's in it and how it's been put together. So let's have a look. So here is the Songs of Yesterday by Free, a 5 CD musical review of one of Britain's seminal rock bands. And it says on the back, this box contains 5 CDs and a 60-page 4-colour booklet with 13,000 word band history and appreciation by Paul Kossoff, rare photographs, session listings and fully annotated track listings. CDs 1, 2 and 3 contain alternative takes, alternative mixes, single masters, stereo remixes and unreleased recordings. In fact, everything is unique to this box. CD 4 contains live recordings from Croydon and Sunderland, which were not used for Free live, and 12 of the 14 tracks were unreleased. The microphone clicks and distortion which precluded the original use has been sonically removed. Those of you who've got this know that that is absolutely unbelievable. And CD 5 contains associated recordings from Paul Rodgers and the Maytals, Peace, Sharks, Kossoff, Kirk, Tetsu and Rabbit, John Martin and Rabbit himself. And it was done by Digby Smith, who I've interviewed for the Now Spinning channel before, and all from the multi-tracks. So it's got a slipcase which comes off, slides out, and then inside are the 4 CDs, and then maybe it was a design issue, but CD 5 just flops around in this area where the booklet is. But we'll come to that separately. And then we have the booklet, which I think is a unique shape for CD box sets. I don't think I've seen anything else that took this format. But it is superb. It opens up with the gatefold sleeve, the outer gatefold of Tons of Sobs, which I've covered before in a Now Spinning video. And then we have the history of the band. And for the first few pages, it goes through all of the tracks. And if you can see here that the amount of songs that are remixed by Digby Smith in 1999, and all the rare B-sides that were so hard to find in those original singles. So we've got Moonshine again, engineered 1968 from Tons of Sobs, but all of them are unique. Woman by the Sea, this is a obviously rare track, previously unreleased, unmixed song from Tons of Sobs, and they were all of these unreleased songs were, where they can, they remixed them from the 8-track, and Richard Digby Smith was involved, and he worked on the original albums as an engineer, so he loves Free, he loves Paul Kossoff, and so the care and attention to these is just superb, absolutely superb. The photos are amazing, the story is detailed, and the band look like just teenagers, because they were. But so many of the songs are remixed from 1999, Don't Say You Love Me. That's the version of the Steeler. Here is the extra long version with Kossoff absolutely raging on the lead guitar towards the end. Absolutely stunning. Every free classic has an alternative version. It goes through every album. The photography, the press cuttings, absolutely everything about it. One of my favourite songs is Seven Angels, and this is an alternative mix. Everything's just an alternative mix or remix, but the live stuff, which is alternative versions from Free Live and the stuff they couldn't use, it sounds like it was recorded last week. Seriously, I know some of you will think, well, Free Live's always sounded a bit muddy, but my God, what they did for this box set on this live stuff: Ride on a Pony, Be My Friend, Fire and Water, The Steeler, Don't Say You Love Me, Mr. Big, I'll Be Creeping, Free Me, Woman, I'm a Mover, Walk in My Shadow, Songs of Yesterday, All Right Now, and Crossroads. Absolutely amazing what they managed to do. And then CD 5 has tracks by Peace, which are really rare and unique to this. They also have a couple of tracks by Sharks, which are superb. And then I so hope there will be a deluxe version of Kossoff, Kirk, Tetsuya and Rabbit one day. But these are unreleased tracks from those sessions, which sound absolutely stunning. I love this picture of Free, which was the European gatefold for Highway. And there's a few more tracks from, there's some tracks from Rabbit. And there's the Hold On track here from Kossoff, Kirk, Tetsuya and Rabbit is also a remix. And at the time, this version of Time Away is 18 minutes long, which was absolutely amazing, and I just couldn't believe that I was going to hear that. Of course, if you bought the deluxe Backstreet Caller, there's an even longer version now. And then we've got pictures. Some of these pictures appeared in the original Free Story, and then we go through the albums. This was the original songbook, which I had at one stage, but it fell apart, unfortunately. Goes through the whole of the band's history. We're in 1971 now, when the band split up with Free Live. Kossoff, Kirk, Tetsuya and Rabbit, stunning album. Some pictures of Peace, and then we went to Free at Last. The headlines from the music papers at the time when Fraser quit Free. Then we're on to Heartbreaker, and obviously tells the story and the struggles that they were having with Kossoff, the struggles that Kossoff was having himself. And then some press cuttings from the sad passing as well of Paul Kossoff himself, and some picture sleeves. And then a sessionology of everything that they did in date order. This goes all the way from 1968 and ends with the release of the Free Story in March 1974. So that is highly recommended and in my top 5 box sets of all time. So that is Songs of Yesterday by the band Free. 5 CDs, literally full of remixes and alternative versions. And as I said, and I went through that, I've got box sets full of alternative versions and demo tracks and whatever, and I might play them once. But this is a band that weren't dialing in their performances from different parts of the world. They were all in the room together. And so they'd say, shall we do that again? Shall we do that again? Because nothing was written down. They would literally look at each other and they'd play it again. And Paul Rodgers would perform it differently because he felt differently in that run through. And Kossoff would play differently because he also picked up the different dynamics from Paul Rodgers. And so every version was different. And there are some artists where you buy a box set and it will say take 7 of the same track, and I just think I probably won't even get round to playing that. But on this, I don't care. In fact, if there was another set that actually said take 7 of Be My Friend, I'd play them all. because all of them would make me feel differently, because it was real and authentic music from a bunch of kids who were so advanced in their maturity of the music and the words they used. They were completely unique. If you buy this and you want to buy the other albums, well, you should. There's only 7 of them. There are the ones with the extra tracks on, but you want the 2016 remasters, really, because the sound is absolutely superb. Do I have a favourite Free album? Nope. I couldn't tell you which album was better or worse than another one, because they all suit different moods. They're all essential. And music is what lifts us up. And music is the healer. And I hope that those of you who subscribe to this channel, find my little ramblings a comfort in the stressful world that we find ourselves in at the moment. Please stay safe, and please take care, and keep spinning that music. And I hope to see you on my next video.